cancel the trip. Who's more important, your child, whom I've been carrying, or your childhood friend over there?
Oh, don't be selfish. It's a waste to cancel, so I can't do that.
Being flatly refused by my husband was shocking, and tears welled up in my eyes involuntarily. Even if it's the due date, it's the wife who gives birth, so even if he's there, he won't be of any help, right? Once the child's born, I'll take him to the hospital immediately.
Certainly.
Saying that, both my husband and childhood friend laughed. Ignoring my objections, they left the house, saying it was time for the train. Unable to endure the mistreatment, I collapsed at the entrance and cried for hours. Feeling anxious about being alone so close to giving birth, my in-laws who lived nearby came to the house. From then on, I started preparing for childbirth, but there were no signs of labor. In the end, our long-awaited daughter Sophia was born 1 day later than the due date. It seems my husband, who had been informed of the birth by my in-laws, had returned from his trip just in time.
Well, she's born. Congrats.
My husband said with a smiling face. And strangely, right next to him, "It's my first time holding a baby," Ashley said excitedly. "There's no way I'd let you hold my child." An unknowing nurse tried to hand the baby over to my husband. My husband also happily said,
"I'm the dad,"
reaching out to pick up the baby. "Huh? Who's that?" As I said that, my mother intervened and took the baby from the nurse. My husband received cold glances from both his parents.
"Huh?"
My husband exclaimed in a foolish voice. "Mom, bring that out." And my mother took out a piece of paper from my bag and handed it to my husband.
"Huh? Oh, what's this? Divorce papers?"
"That's right." In response to my husband's stunned expression, I responded with a firm attitude. "Saying I'm daddy so easily, huh? Shameless beyond belief. A man who goes on a trip with his ex on his daughter's due date has no right to call himself a father. If that's the kind of father she'd have, she's better off without one. Up until now, I alone had to endure it, but now my children will be involved. I don't want to do that. So I'm getting a divorce. I always thought it was better for kids to have both parents in the same room, but even kids wouldn't want parents who fight every day over their exes." To my words, my husband responded,
"Hey, it's too hasty. Don't be so upset over a trip."
With a smirk, he tried to lighten the mood here. However, whack! With the sound of a snap, Stephen staggered. It was my mother-in-law who slapped him across the cheek.
"Don't take childbirth lightly. You lack a lot of awareness as a father. If Jessica had been alone when she went into labor, there could have been a chance she might have lost her life."
In her anger, my mother-in-law's breathing became heavy, and my father-in-law tried to calm her down. But even he was also angry with my husband.
"I am ashamed to have raised such a son."
He glared at my husband with bright red eyes.
"What the hell? Even my mom and dad? It's just a trip, right? I didn't cheat on her. I'm this child's daddy, remember? Isn't that a bit too much?"
"I don't think of you as a father." When I involuntarily raised my voice at my husband's words, my sister-in-law gently patted my back, saying, "It's not good for your health." After childbirth, I deeply appreciate that my in-laws paid the extra fee to make the room a private one, expecting there would be disputes when my husband came. None of us could contain our anger towards my husband.
"We can't leave Jessica with you anymore, Stephen,"
his parents replied. Amidst an atmosphere completely hostile to my husband, my father-in-law uttered,
"Now that the child is born, Jessica, we consider you family regardless of whether you two divorce or not. But you, we don't believe in you anymore." "What?" My husband raised a bewildered voice. "You're disowned too. Never show your shameful face to us again." "Oh, come on, Dad. That's too much. We're tired of you not understanding the gravity of the situation. We don't need a man who prioritizes his own desires over protecting his own child and our family." "You don't have to say it like that. Not just you, Dad, but Jessica too. We've only been married for a few years, you know? I've even talked to my colleagues about having kids. I don't want to lose my family like this, especially not at a time like this. Rethink this.
Even after all this, you're still selfish. Don't you care about losing your family? I don't know, did you ever really see me and our child as part of your family?
Well...
Upon hearing my words, my husband glanced briefly at Ashley. You still love her, don't you? Why don't you start over? You can marry her instead, couldn't you? At that moment, my husband's eyebrows twitched, showing a moment of hesitation. He might not be entirely opposed, but perhaps he was considering how Ashley felt. However... What? Wait, Jessica, I assure you, I have absolutely no interest in him anymore. I was just a middle schooler when we dated, and I admired older boys back then. I really don't see Steven as a man anymore, not even a tiny bit. My husband, stunned, his mouth agape, was frozen in disbelief as Ashley spoke with unwavering clarity. Besides, I was just proposed to by my boyfriend the other day.
Huh?
My husband seemed taken aback by this revelation, his face going from pale to even paler, standing there in utter shock, apparently unaware of this development.
Wait, did you mention a boyfriend? To me? I didn't ask, but...
Huh? You didn't ask me, and you're not even family, so why bother telling you?
You have a boyfriend, and yet you went on a trip with me? I thought we had mutual feelings.
Well, you're married, and neither of us sees each other in a romantic light. Besides, it was my birthday, so you treating me to the trip was actually a win-win, right? And plus, my boyfriend is away on a business trip, so I couldn't see him anyway. My husband was aghast at Ashley's words, which were so reasonable. Indeed, for her, my husband was just a childhood friend, and this trip was simply him being her wallet. And you could tell that Ashley had absolutely no interest in you, but you still liked Ashley, didn't you? That reaction. My husband was speechless when questioned by me. Seeing that, Ashley said, Well, that's troubling, with a genuinely disgusted expression. Because I felt like we were like family. If you saw me in that way, Steven, I'll stop being friends. Seriously, gross. Ashley said with a straight face, leaving my husband in tears. Oh, he was a sight to see. Ashley left with a simple, see you. No one could bring themselves to speak to my pitiful husband. Most troubled of all would have been the nurse.
I just brought your child here in this atmosphere.
Seemed like she wanted to ask, what should I do? Well, I understand now. It wasn't infidelity, but... Anyway, I'm going to divorce. Please pay child support. My husband did not reply to me as I spoke, unable to contain my laughter. Or rather, I don't think he could. My sister-in-law pulled my husband, who was stunned and groaning, and locked him out of the hospital room. Afterwards, for a while, my husband...
I don't want to be alone. It wasn't cheating, so please forgive me.
He cried and resisted the divorce, but I proceeded with the divorce without giving any room for negotiation. Having a child really does make a woman stronger. I felt I should divorce from such a husband as soon as possible and focus on raising my child. I could think that, thanks to my child. I received child support, and even the compensation I thought I wouldn't get, I received. Because the marriage was short, my in-laws, worried about the lack of significant property division, yelled at my husband until he paid up. They supported me and my child's life. Thanks to that, our life was comfortable without any inconvenience. On the flip side, my husband got disowned by his parents, just as they had proclaimed, and he ended up handing over all the money he had to me. He had a job, so he quickly found a place to live. But it seems he lost his standing at work. My husband was hiding the fact of our divorce at work. He seemed to be pretending to be a great dad, actively involved in parenting, as if he had a family. However, he was frequently spotted buying a single portion of lunch at the convenience store. Somehow, the divorce was discovered. In the office, he seemed to have become quite uncomfortable being recognized as the guy who pretended to have a family. Among the female employees, "He's delusional, isn't he?"
I thought he never had a wife in the first place.
Such rumors spread, and people treated him completely like a loser. Even my husband has to pretend.
I left my wife,
He apparently said. That surely garnered even more resentment from the female employees. It's foolish to tighten your own noose and limit your options just because you hold yourself in such high regard. He continued to work while being looked at with disapproval, unable to quit his job due to having to pay child support. On the other hand, my child has grown up and become a bit cheeky lately. "Mom, if you skip the night lotion, your lines will deepen." Why do you say such things? What's with that slightly snarky comment? I think to myself, girls grow up so fast. I too admired my parents' cosmetics when I was in elementary school. It's an age when one becomes aware of beauty, so I guess it's a path everyone takes. As my daughter suggested, maybe I'll start patting some anti-aging lotion on my laugh lines with a cotton pad. She's a precocious and sassy daughter, but she even helps with cleaning. Lately, it seems she's taken an interest in cooking, and we've been spending more time making dinner and sweets together. She's eager to bake cookies for my in-laws this weekend. My father at home has taken up bread making, so I plan to join him for lessons next month. When I first decided to become a single mother, I was really anxious. Could I really make my child happy? I worried about whether I would make them feel lonely or impoverished. But looking back, there's been far more support for my child, far more love for them to grow up with than when I was living with my husband. Some still say it's better to have both parents together. There are still people who say such old-fashioned things, but what's important is how many caring adults are there for the children. We're never just one mother and one child. Supported by many people, we've become a family. That's how I feel every day.